Good morning. This is the House Appropriations Committee. It is Thursday, January 15th, 2026. And this morning, we're going to start on markup of the Budget Adjustment Act. We'll start with a spreadsheet and then get to the language. We have the morning devoted to this. We will take a break in there somewhere, at least one. And we'll just see how it goes. So this is our first time starting in a full markup, and I know we have a ways to go, and so I don't expect that we're going to be closing a lot of things right now. I think there are some things that we're also going to find out what we don't know and what we need to know more about, and then there'll be a chance to chat with committees. I've talked to all the chairs. We have Teresa coming in this afternoon for Human Services. I have a draft letter from healthcare, and I'll get that. And I'm not sure that we'll need to have them come in, but we'll have something from them. Some of the other committees just don't need to come in because what they've got is either so small, or they and I have chatted, and it makes sense the way it is. So, which doesn't mean they can't come in or we can't find out more. When we get to something, somebody says, "Oh, I really want to know more about this thing." But so we'll just see how that goes. So let's start with a spreadsheet.
Can I ask
yes,
a really, really general overarching question here?
Mm-hmm.
We're addressing a lot of different things here in building in general, and you said the administration, when they came in, said that the BAA is supposed to be X. It's supposed to, fix the budget with certain things that we miscalculated on or that came up, and
they were truing up.
A truing up, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between truing up somebody's ABS needs and truing up the fact that we might consider appropriating money, filling a basket that we created last year? So let's use the Vermonters Feeding Vermonters thing that asked for $2 million last year, needed $2 million last year, and they're asking for 1.5 this year. But last year, in our wisdom, we only gave them $500,000 in the big bill.
Right.
So is that a truing up? And maybe this is a more philosophical question because, again, the difference between saying we're not going to fund new initiatives, we're not going to fund this, we're not going to fund this, and we want to take this surplus and move it forward for education taxes has been stated by the administration, not by us yet. So as we consider what we heard yesterday, the needs of basically a lot of people who are impoverished, who we have shorted over the years, and now that we've returned to austerity budgeting and we know it's really difficult to find money for services, and yet there's money for services, same as there was last year. And on top of it, with the chaos coming from Washington on things that we really can't fix, with things like Vermonters losing their healthcare subsidies, making their lives more unaffordable. How are we going to approach this over the next 2 weeks in terms of adhering to this boundary that we say we shouldn't be doing X, but sometimes we do, and adhering to the the standard of we could only fix this and this other money, small portion of which could be really helpful to Vermonters in one-time money, not even expanding programs, but we're going to hold that back for other purposes. So I just want to get an idea of how do we, as we expose items in here, how do we put our heart and soul into what Vermonters might need in the instant because of all the chaos that's happened in the last 12 months versus what some people can say is pouring money into a digital system that's highly necessary, and yet we know every year we're going to be asked to pour tens of millions of dollars into software because that's how much it costs every year. It's not ever going to be even. It's never going to be square. Feeding people is never going to be square. So I want to know, how do we weight what we're talking about? Because if we're just checking off things that are in the BAA, anyone can do that. And I just want to know that a conversation can be had that's a little bit broader.
Yes. a conversation will be had. You threw a lot out there, which is great, and I don't have all the answers for this. We're gonna sort of go through this together. We will have the opportunity to have those discussions about what are the other things that we can and want to do. So the truing up part, just to get to the easy thing, is really about truing up things that were in the budget that we committed to last year. So, I mean, they find out that, well, we've got it, like rent rebate was off in one place and not on the other, so we just, offset them. So those are the easy ones. I would not call adding more money to Vermonters Feeding Vermonters truing up. That would be a choice that we would make to add more money to that. They asked for 2 million. It wasn't like we put 2 million in the budget. Truing up is we put 2 million in, we only spent 5 or whatever we need, and now that we need the rest of it. So we hadn't committed to that. So that would be a choice that we make to do that. James will get us the spreadsheet of what we heard yesterday in the public hearing. So we'll have that information too. So we're just started today. We're not going to finish today. And so we'll want to think about what those priorities are and where we have money left to do certain things. I have talked about not using that 75 million in the budget adjustment because we don't have information. We also don't know if it's going to be 75 million. We also don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 months from Washington and whether there's going to be some other chaos that we have to really address that's more important than using all 75 million or any of the 75 million. So there's just a lot of unknowns. It's, we're back to austerity, but we're austerity with a different administration in Washington that thrives on chaos and instability and changing their minds. So the Samson money that we thought we were going to lose yesterday, we were told it was 4.5 million, then we were told it was 3.5 million, and then by the end of the day, they said the money's been restored. So, how do you work with that, right? I mean, we can't run after everything, and how do we know when they're done with the thing? We don't know. So we're operating in a very different environment than a typical even austerity budget. So keep in mind what you feel your priorities are, and we'll have conversations about what are those other things that we want to be able to do. And I don't know how much there would be about it.
I don't disagree with Tom's question at all.
Yeah.
It's always a good question because we went through this last year here as well. Yeah. What might pop up as a very emergent need here, and we need to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we have, just making up something up here, what do we have out there that we could utilize here?
Right.
Perhaps fund something in whole, and it may be a small amount. We have some requests on the sheet, and we'll see more about that, learn more about that here today. But there's some levels of requests that we just may not be able to do with this, but perhaps look towards that with a larger budget of things.
Yeah. And I think, that some things may be easier to get in the budget adjustment for one-time money than to get in the 27 budget, because I think that's going to be the harder of the 2 years. And we also, we'll have the e-board tomorrow and we'll hear the revenue forecast. And I am not going to bet my retirement savings that the revenue forecast is going to go up. We don't know.
We don't know.
We'll find out in 24 hours. So we'll know what we're dealing with there. But so we'll have a couple of unknowns known as we go along, but there's still a lot that we don't. And then we'll get the governor's budget. We're also not going to pass this thing right away because we'll see what we're hearing there, and that may have some impact and influence on what we decide.
No, thank you for that. I'm just concerned that, the politics of the BAA in December were, yay, we got it early so we could, let it stew for a while. But there were definite boundaries put up. Just like last year, we did our best work, we thought, and it was vetoed twice.
Yeah.
And there was an intimation in December that the same thing would happen again if it didn't go the way that the administration wants it to go. Will our reaction to that be, oh, we got beat last year, or we got vetoed twice? Or is it like, we want to do the best, we want to put the best document, the best moral document forward? So that, we're putting we're putting our work into it rather than just ticking off boxes.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in this room doesn't want to do their best work on the budget.
That's right.
we may not all agree on all the items of the budget adjustment, right? And, you know, we'll see where we land. And I don't know where we're gonna land. It's too early to tell. I don't have any preconceived notions of where we're going to land. But I think we're all gonna try to do the best we can for Vermonters. And, you know, my hope is that even if we don't all agree with 100% of it that's in there, if we agree with like 90% or whatever, we're still gonna be able to get ourselves to a yes. And that may not be possible, but I'm hoping it will be. So we're just gonna do the best we can and see where we go from there.
No, thank you for sharing, because
Yeah.
I think the next 2 weeks we're gonna be really hyper focused like this.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that I'm not 4 days from now ready to explode all over you.
You still may be, but you know, that's okay. You're warning me. Thank you. I have Dave and then Marty.
I appreciate Tom's point also. I'm asking this really to help educate me. I don't want to keep a wrong assumption in my mind. And I'm not trying necessarily to spend what I think is available funds at this time, at least. You mentioned the 75.
Yeah.
We may change, it could, et cetera. But isn't there also what Sarah Clark reported to? Isn't there also, though some of it's been used, the 50 and the 30 and the 30?
I'm gonna look to JFO.
I mean,
Pretty
it's,
much there is, right?
yes. So isn't, that's not gone yet.
That's right.
And I understand something bad may happen with the potential government shutdown.
Yeah.
That
There's
changes
that, yes.
those dynamics.
I forgot that. I forgot to mention that, yes.
But once we got by that, so it's okay for me to sit here quietly in my mind and think, well, you know, we could
You're
this
gonna
and
spend the
that.
money in your head?
Well, I have before.
I know you have. So yes, so we've spent some of it and, you know, if we end up doing some section 8, for example, so the 50 million, just as a reminder, was we appropriated to the agency administration for the emergency board. So that, and we almost had an e-board meeting about section 8 in December to look at that. So that could be a place, for example, I'm not making any decisions. If we did something with section 8, that could be a place where we could get that 5 million, because that was exactly what that kind of purpose was intended for.
That was gonna be a question to ask as well. You know,
Yeah.
you have your e-board meeting here this week. Forecast as well
Right.
here looking ahead, you know,
Right.
what do we still have to hold on to here for perhaps the short time, depending what happens
Yeah.
at the end of the month. Or longer.
Right,
Once we find out more details about.
That's right.
Coming down from
Yeah.
Washington DC, because we don't know that.
we don't know. And Emily, are we gonna get new spreadsheets next week?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So.
working on that.
He was quick to say.
So we'll have this conversation and then on Tuesday, when we're meeting again, we'll have new spreadsheets to use.
Okay, Tuesday you guys meet.
Oh, yeah, well, that's in the afternoon,
That's fair. Maybe Tuesday morning.
maybe Tuesday morning. Okay, I have Marty and then Wayne.
I was just gonna comment in context of the BAA that yes, it's for trolling up and that kind of thing. And I would comment that we just need to keep in mind as well the immediacy of some of the requests. Because an example might be that, you know, we appropriated so much for caseload and reach up or caseload and Medicaid or whatever, and utilization is up. And, you know, I'm not going out there and telling people, no, you can't go apply for Medicaid benefits. If you need them, you need them, you know? And so that would be something where I think it's, if we have the money, we need to accommodate something like that that's immediate in order to get it through the rest of the fiscal year, because we had committed to that project. Whereas something else, you know, maybe adding some money in for somebody's IT project, we could do that in April. It doesn't need to be done right now, perhaps. So those kinds of things. So we need to think about the immediacy.
That's right. That's right.
You know, it's always nice to have clear guidelines. It's really easy, makes life a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's cut and dry. Everything isn't cut and dry to all of us, we know.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, but during the bigger budget process, we really have ample time for testimony and getting
Yeah.
that. And so, you know, I think it's a risk to rush funding new things through without the scrutiny that we might give
Yeah.
to something in the big bill.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and some of the things we heard about, we have had testimony on.
Mhm.
So it isn't, I don't know, I can't remember everything in the list. A couple things come to mind that I know we've heard about and other people have heard about. We're also going to get a couple of letters from committees who have done that sort of thing. So that's why, for example, Teresa will come in because,
Well, I'll always have some difference of opinion, obviously, because I'm, you know me, I'm very operational. I want to get some return on our investment. And other people may feel that they like it because it feels good, right? I'm not so much a feel good guy, I'm more of an operational. So we have some disagreements and
yeah,
those kind of ways.
right. Well, we're all going to come at it from our own viewpoint and our, yeah.
That's why I thought we, at the beginning of the session, we should have all changed chairs, so we had a different point of view.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I didn't never heard you didn't tell me about that.
counts as a joke.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're gonna do that on equal chairs.
That's an idea.
So
There you
wait,
go.
let your hair down.
Yeah, they keep asking me what razor I use.
They're all just jokes. Okay, are we good to start on the spreadsheet now? So maybe the first one is pretty easy. This actually would be Mike's.
Yep.
Do you have any problem with homeowner rebate and renter rebate?
No, I think this is through up, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Anybody have any questions or concerns about that one? Can we check those off? Isn't that nice to start with? Woo-hoo.
Yes.
Okay. 204 and 207 are both Trevor's, right? These are,
Yeah,
have you talked to judiciary about this?
it's, they budgeted 4% increase for the sheriff's deputies, but the contracts came in at 7.5%.
Oh, 204.
It's a real supply demand issue there.
Ah,
And so that's most of that. And then, well, that is that item. That's
the first item.
sheriff's contract, 558.
So that came in at what percent?
The contract came in at it was a 7.5% increase. They only budgeted 4%. So instead of going from $51 to $54 an hour for for security, it went up to 57. So that's the difference.
Okay. And then what about the other one with the sheriff?
That's just a combination of things. Increases in mileage costs, transport deputy. A lot of it's transport deputies again.
Yeah,
Overtime costs. I think 3 of the 4 items. Per diem staff. Yeah, they're all reasonable.
so, the transport deputies would also be part of the $51 to $57. And then when if you have overtime, then it's counted based off the $57, is that?
Yeah, well, the judiciary have their contracts and then the transport deputies are under the
Under sheriff?
sheriff. Yeah. So there's sort of two
Yeah,
different
Okay.
things, but they still, they all both have pressure.
yes, okay,
So things are coming in over budget, essentially.
yeah. See how that goes for next year. Wayne?
Yeah, I think we need to discuss things with the judiciary when they come in.
What's it?
I think we should, with Chief Justice when he comes in, we should talk about some of the scheduling issues that might be able to free up some of that transport deputy work.
Well, state's attorneys and sheriffs, right? Isn't that really?
Yeah, you know, well, scheduling, you know, I hear that sometimes people will be called in, be there for 6, 7, 8 hours before they see the judge. So some block scheduling to be able to solve some of that
It's
problem.
complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There are a lot of issues around that.
Yeah.
And it also ties back into DOC and remote hearings and
Yes.
how we utilize that. So it's a big conversation.
Yeah.
They should talk to us.
And it's not one of them, it's all three of them trying to get together and make.
that's right. You're right. They do have to, because you have somebody that's incarcerated in Newport who has something in Bennington, and the transport deputies. I mean, that's absurd.
It takes them out for a full day or more.
It's-
It's always two.
At least.
Yeah, and there's 2 people that have to go, right?
Oh, just for instance, remote hearings, of course, there's a big uptick in utilization of remote hearings during the pandemic, and it made a lot of sense. And now that we're out of that, you're seeing a lot of judges control this. And they're basically saying, I want them in court. Well, they don't want to be.
Right, right.
But it's being driven by judges.
So,
A lot of those issues.
Right.
And then you've got the issue on the other side where there's just not enough folks to do that.
right,
Some of the
So
remotes
that's pressure on pay scales. And there's not enough folks to do the work. It's not efficient,
Right.
like you say, in terms of scheduling. So someone's driving from Newport to Bennington, or whatever the case may be.
yeah. So is this the sort of conversation, Martin or
Yeah,
Alex and all?
it's one of our top things to talk
Okay, okay,
transfer that, how it all comes
Okay.
together.
great. And Wayne, keep a list of your questions that you want to ask during FY 27 budget.
I did.
Okay. So how are people feeling about those? Should we cross those off or do we, is there anything else we need to know about those? Since we have, not hearing.
I just have, on the very last one, the 53,000, it says the transport deputy position was created, but the position was not funded. And now they're asking for, during the year, they'd like to have it funded for the second half of the year.
Yeah, I don't,
Why was it
I don't
not
remember what
funded?
happened there. It's only gonna be a half year funding, of course.
Right,
But I don't know what happened there. What was the funding piece of it? I mean, I could check in on that, but I know we did create.
it created it
Yes,
somehow.
I do remember there.
Sounds like for that it's going to be filled for the second half of the year.
Yes.
Well, F and M, I mean, obviously administration said, okay.
Yeah.
They must have.
So why don't we tentatively check that one off and Trevor will check on the 53 and what happened. Okay, and then public safety. I think these are all yours, Marty, aren't they?
These 3 or 4 are mine.
First three, okay.
Yeah. The first one is, it has to do with their indirect costs. They're moving stuff from the other funds into the general. Because they have grant monies that come in to help them do a variety of things. And among the parameters of the grant is you can use a certain amount of money for, indirect costs for general admin that goes into it. Well, it's not sufficient to cover what they were doing. Hence, because of the percentage amount that's allowed in the indirect. So they need to backfill that, or they need to finish paying their indirect costs by taking it out of the general fund.
There's been a lot of this sort of thing, which I find really frustrating, these interdepartmental and they didn't pay enough. This is like one of Tom's IT sort of things.
Well, I think it has to do with the terms of the contract of the grant. That you get a grant for $100,000
Right.
and it says you may use 5% of this for admin expenses
Right.
related to doing this function. Well, it turns out for whatever reason, the 5% is not enough to cover the admin related to that particular function. So either salaries are too high, or we have too many people working to do the admin work on that particular grant, or it's just not
Yeah.
realistic to consider 5% out of.
It says payer budgets cannot support the allocated charges.
I believe that to mean the payer budgets are the grants that are coming in.
Okay.
And, for instance, it should have been $150,000 if you take 5% out. But
Yeah.
it was only, whatever. I can do some more checking. if people-
Yeah, that one confuses me,
Okay,
because I also don't see the word grant in there anywhere in this explanation.
no, but it was in the handout they gave us that described how indirect costs
Okay.
work.
Oh, okay.
But I will be glad to
That
look
would,
at that.
yeah,
next
that's
week.
kind of the, that's it, okay. And then the state police. The next one.
State police, it's overtime. Which I don't know that we have much control over, that's a
Yeah.
scheduling issue.
Well, and we-
Other
and-
things, but it also includes the 130 or the 108% of
Right,
the net cost for the Burlingtons,
right,
additional work in Burlington.
right, which we knew we were gonna get some costs related
Right.
to that. But I wonder, it'll be good when they come in for the next year's budget to find out if they I don't remember if that's a lot of overtime, whether they're short, I guess they've sort of been short.
Yes, they will, when they dropped down, I don't have the numbers right here, but the
Yeah.
number of, established, justified positions and then the number that are actually filled.
Yeah,
And then how many are still in training?
right,
Not yet.
yeah, be nice to know what their vacancy is, how many they're allowed to have and how many they've actually got. Still a lot of overtime. It's still 757,000 of
For
overtime.
across the state.
Yeah. Mhm. Which just seems like a lot.
Also, we always ask, don't you plan for overtime? What's in the
Well,
budget?
and again, I think what happens is the departments and agencies are told that they have to budget to a 3% number. It's just like the veterans home, right? And then they use the budget adjustment to solve it instead of doing the right amount, or closer to the right amount
Right, so we
at the
can,
beginning.
we can ask them that question.
Yes, for next year too, yes. All right, so in the meantime, you think we're okay with, need to do that one? Not seeing anybody say no, okay. And then criminal justice.
This is one I want to check into a little
Okay.
bit more.
Okay,
Well,
yeah,
I'll check into it further,
Okay.
because I understand there's an increase, based upon some software. I'm just wondering if they knew that was coming, and so why we didn't budget for it in the first place.
right,
Or if this is just higher than they had expected, or what, I don't know.
right, okay, great. Might you have the military?
Yep, and, so this is the grant for training people after, when they come back, to help them build careers so that they can, when they leave the service, that they can do things that we would like to have them do in the state of Vermont. So last year, as you recall, we took 100,000 out of that pot, grant pot. And this year, they're saying that they're not going to use this extra $286,000 because all these deployments that are going out, they're not going to have, they don't estimate that they're going to have the need this year.
That makes sense. Keep an eye on that for 27, everybody okay with that? See any notes? Criminal Justice Council. Who's that? That you?
That's mine
Okay.
again. Again, I do want to talk to them a little bit more. Apparently, they have an ongoing project in terms of doing a full curriculum review, and they've done part of it. And this is the next part of it, to say the contract is 50% complete.
Right,
Again, my question is, did you know this other half was gonna be, did it get speeded up and therefore
Right.
you want it during this year as opposed to next year? Or
right,
is it coming in more? It does say they expect to finish it in May. Yeah, no, that's.
it just says more than
I was gonna
50%.
ask that. So I do want to get this.
Okay. Thank you.
So you're checking that one.
I'm checking, she's checking on that, so we're not checking it off here. Human Rights Commission come in with, 25, we good with that, Tom?
Yeah. People testified that 25,000 would be sufficient to cover the loss of funding from HUD.
Yeah.
And, so it's
Yes, okay, pretty good with that?
Yeah.
We're okay? Mike, N,
The Cannabis Control Board, this is correcting money that had been appropriated for standing up their lab. Inadvertently swept out, returning this money. It's been agreed they need the money to stand up the lab, so this is
Yeah.
just a correction.
right. Okay, everybody clear on that? Good? Good. Stage one done. Human Services. I think, Lynn, you have 300.
Tracking with the treasurer's office.
Okay, so we will hold off on those for the moment. 306. We should have one of those.
That's mine.
Okay, Dave,
Moving to it, hold on, here we go. Hold on. Department of Vermont.
So while you're looking, just a reminder that the two big things are 2.5 million for this Gainwell contract. I think it's all IT stuff, and then 2.8 million for that Medicaid data and warehouse MDWAS, which has been going on since third, I think. At least when I was started here 10 years ago in corrections and institutions, I think it was there.
Yeah, frankly, I don't think these are controversial, but I do believe, I want to wait till we get the presentation. Teresa would.
Okay, sure,
They're looking at these, but
that's right.
I don't expect anything on
Right,
these.
so maybe we should hold off on all of the human services ones until we talk about.
That makes sense.
That seems to make sense, so we'll skip all of these, Dave, you're off the hook for the moment. So's Lynn and so's Tip. So we'll just skip the whole 300 section.
I mean, yeah, Teresa will not address the 314 and 15. I've been in conversation with the healthcare committee. And they don't really have any questions, but I have a couple of questions that I'd like to
Check
talk
out
with them about. Yeah.
Okay, so you have 14 and 15.
I do.
There. You had 12 and 312. When?
Yeah.
And she has. Dave has 310, okay. And if we go through, so 16, 17. 21. You used to have the Dale, the aged blind with the same.
No.
You used to talk about it.
I used to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's what I was, yeah, I was concerned about some of it, but.
Yes. Okay, so I'm just checking off all the threes. We're not doing anything unless somebody yells out that we have to. Get through these pages. Sort of. Okay, so now we're at page 5. And we have education, and nutrition. This is universal school meals. They always estimate, and it's coming in at $1 million less. I did talk to the chair of House Ed, and he said this is fine. Mike, I don't know if you had any other thoughts or talked about it. Seems all right for you?
Yep.
Anybody have any objections if we reduce by $1 million? I think we're good. Okay, we'll check that one off. Oh, did I miss it? Oh, we missed corrections.
What number is it?
Oh, we're on page 5. Education was B508. It's kind of just south of the center. Good. But
And
now you're
that-
right.
They were reducing that simply because it was underutilized.
Yes. Yep. I check that carefully every year. What's going on there. And so I will jump up to 339 and 342. I got excited with the threes. Trevor, corrections and veterans. Oh, a veterans home is you. Are you okay with the veterans home?
Yep.
Okay. Everybody okay with the veterans home? We did that, okay? And then how about the correction 339 for a 30-bit increase? I guess we're kind of stuck with that reutilization.
Yeah, I mean, I still have a question about the, I mean, the census gone up, so they
Yeah.
had to change all the contracts.
Right.
And so that's driving a lot of that. And then, of course, they had to increase out of state beds also,
Right.
like
And
30 beds. So that's a separate line under correctional service.
that's this one.
Yeah, the second one. The one question I do have right now is the invoice, the 25 invoice,
Oh,
they paid
yes.
in 26. Not that I understand what happened. It's part of this new system, vendor system that state set up. And so, but what doesn't make sense to me is that when I look at the carryover,
Yeah.
I don't see that money in the carryover. So if they're paying it in 26, should that money have carried forward?
Yeah, and I do
So
have a
I
carry
so I have a
forward
question
report.
about
Yeah, okay, well, we'll leave that open. I had a question about that too and why that happened. And then I also,
Well, I know why it happened, but
Yeah.
I can't figure out why that money doesn't show. in
Right.
there.
right, okay. And maybe JFO can help us with that if he gets stuck.
Which item is that?
That's the 3,168,000 invoices
It
probably
was
here for last year.
well path invoice, it was an FY 25, they paid it FY 26.
3,168,637.
So when I look at the carry forward under that line item, I see a smaller number. So would that show in the carry forward?
I think
Okay.
we should talk about it.
What?
We should talk about it.
Oh, that's,
That would be great. And then
well, I
the-
reached out to their finance people at DOC too.
Great.
But, yeah, probably good to have. JFO talk.
And I'm meeting with some corrections institutions folks later.
Oh, that's right.
Just to talk. about it.
Yeah.
Is that because of the increase in the census? Or not?
Well,
Which
no,
part?
not last year's invoices, but the 4,550,000 I am very concerned about is how is it that the increase consent, the census, I think that's supposed to say 1525, and now it's gone up 30 or 50, and suddenly we have a $4.5 million increase in the contract.
The contract, the contract before was 1250. The new contract now is between 1450, it's a range, 1450
Right.
to 1550. So
Okay.
it's gone up 300.
That's still a lot of money, $4.5 million.
I understand that.
So, yeah, so we'll hold those open until you have your meeting.
Yeah.
Don't have to like it. I don't like it.
Oh, I know that.
Very expensive. We may have to do it.
But
we're
it
not
is
gonna
what
like
it
We
is.
have to do it, yes. All right, so let's find out more about it. And I'm just wondering who's doing the negotiating
Oh,
also.
DOC does negotiate. I had that conversation. with
Okay.
DOC. I mean, they do use some of the AHS staff,
Huh.
but it's driven by the DOC staff.
Okay. I'm curious. I wonder if we have any, or they have any information about how much other states pay for this kind of thing. You know, where
You know, they probably do. I haven't asked that
Yeah.
question.
I would, if they have it easily, I'd be curious to know what that is.
I'll ask Kristen.
Yeah,
Sure. Because she was the former, she's the deputy, but she's
that's right.
former finance.
Oh, okay, good. That would be great.
Corrections Institutions Committee, they've had testimony on it too, because we were looking at it closely when I was on that committee 2 years ago.
Okay, and then we'll jump down to the bottom of page 5. We have natural resources. Secretary Moore came in and chatted about these two. The 2 pay grade increase for 40 wardens and 1 for 1, and then the other is the wildfire. Well, not just wildfire, but
Well, they're all related to what?
yeah, that's right. The helicopter deployment to Winooski, yeah,
Right.
okay. Everybody good with those? It's like we kind of have to do those.
Yes.
Righty. Page 6 is the land use review board. Who's this? Is that yours, Trevor?
Yes,
Okay,
this miscellaneous stuff.
right, getting set up.
Yeah.
We have them come in. Any questions on that one? Are we good to close that? Saying no. Then page 7 is the 1100, so we're into hot times. Let's see, so Mike, this one's yours, and I know they took testimony in Ways and Means yesterday.
I haven't got heard from after that.
Okay, I just talked to the chair who said, you know, the governor signed the bill into law last year and this is what they need to do, and so.
I was gonna say, the decision, the legislature already approved the change in methodology, so I
Right.
don't think that part's any question.
Right,
I think the timing aspect might be the only question, which I think it's just because they're under contract currently.
yeah. Yeah,
Right with the telephone tax.
Yeah,
and it's to get help to
Right.
They need help with evaluation model because it's changing everything. So
Right.
I don't know why it wasn't budgeted for, or maybe it was and it turned out to be more. But it's also to help the municipalities.
Right.
Which is not a bad thing. And there's like
Right.
15 million as a pilot
Pilot
fund. Is that what
Right.
Emily, you told me, 15 million or something in the pilot fund now? There's some lot amount, so. This seems like it makes sense. When I
Yeah.
talked to the chair, she was fine with it in
Okay.
ways and means.
As
So
long as, yeah, in that case,
Yeah.
yeah.
is everybody okay with that one? This next one is the fit up cost for the new offices in Waterbury as a result of the return to work order. I don't even know who that would be. Well, it's Human Services Secretary's office. That would be Lynn. So we'll hold off. Same on the health department. DCF, Diva.
Where are you?
I'm in the B1100s. So a couple of them are small, but there's 2.7 million. IT, this is more of this cloud-based to remain compliant with federal data services. We'll just wait till we hear from.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
think it's probably going to have to do it.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
Yeah, and then the final one, we did this last year. It was going to be in the section C of the big bill, and we pulled it into budget adjustment last year. The Brattleboro Retreat has that alternate payment method, and we do it through. And I believe this is not going to be the right number.
Right, you had mentioned that, and I just
Yes.
wondered if you've gotten.
I haven't heard anything, actually.
And this says Diva, so is it actually? Brattleboro Retreat is.
Medicaid reimbursement, but is it mental health?
Well, it just says
It's a reconciliation payment.
yeah.
I will text Adam right now and ask him because
Maybe
that
I
was,
share something, so.
well, he knew this was coming. I mean, because I asked him about,
Yeah.
that was my last text. No, second to last. Okay.
She's got a little history there.
Any update on the Brattleboro Retreat alternative payment reconciliation in session? Okay, we'll see what we find out, so we'll hold off on that. The rumor I heard was that the number was gonna go down. So, we'll see if that's true, or if it was just a rumor. Judiciary, this is part of the pilot that the governor did.
Yeah.
I think we kind of have to do that. State's attorney.
Same thing.
All the part of the pilot? Yeah, okay.
See, and I like these kind of things. It seems like we're actually gaining ground.
Seems to be.
And then, we heard from the Land Access Opportunity Board, this is the money that they were supposed to have, and it got taken out and it's being put back in.
Yeah.
So,
And then, Wayne, to your question yesterday about the positions, Tip did a quick reading of the material that they provided, and those 10 positions are proposals for FY 27.
Okay, so it'll propose that in an upcoming budget.
that will be discussed in the.
So we'll have testimony on that.
Oh, yeah, we'll have testimony on all of that,
That
yeah.
just clarifies that this is still last year's or the year before's money that was just maybe clean to be used this year.
My questions on those positions will be operational. Are these going to provide a benefit? What kind of benefit?
Well, and they need to come in with their presentation to be telling us those things. That's what we'll be getting there. It's interesting that we've had two things this year where they had sort of inadvertently
Yeah,
taken the money out, and this has been happening with some regularity, unfortunately. So we had Cannabis Control Board and this both. I don't know why they got messed with, but anyway, we need to keep an eye on these things.
They're new organizations, which shouldn't
Yeah.
exempt them from, they shouldn't exempt the process. But
Right.
clearly there's a little roughness getting them,
Not quite used to that happening, yeah.
well,
Okay,
it's kind of like the childcare tax.
Yeah.
it's a new process and trying to figure out how to work that in.
Right,
Pull the money out of the general fund and put it in,
yeah,
which they have done. But
right. Okay, so we're on the last page, which is transfers and reversions. And the first is criminal records check. Trevor, is that your, no, GPS, is that yours?
I guess it's mine.
Oh,
Special fund shortfall.
right, which has been an ongoing issue. Trevor, did you have this at one point?
No.
Okay. This is the background checks, but where did they get their money?
Well, I presume there's a fee. I need to check into this.
Yeah,
obviously.
let's check into
And,
that.
and I,
As I
confused
recall,
me
there
was
were,
that this was under public safety as opposed to the,
Well, because it's about background checks.
well, I know, but it is the Criminal Justice Training Council that does that? Or did some money go through public service or public safety?
as I recall, they testified that there's a lot less background checks being done because people are using the internet to do things. And so some of these are not necessarily criminal. These are maybe a
Well,
You get a
Company.
license or
Right.
anything.
Yeah.
company, an employee or anything like that, a future employee, and they're not using the service as much. I think that's the answer, but you can check.
Well, the money was also, it was that, and the money is also coming from a fund that doesn't have the revenues because they're not doing a background check.
Yeah.
So yes, that would be great to check into it. I wonder how they're gonna change things and what's gonna be different in FY 27. That'd be interesting.
Right,
And that would be a question, if there is indeed a fee. And
Right.
maybe the fee has not been updated in quite some time.
Right.
So there's the whole question of, is Ways and Means gonna do a fee bill?
Right.
Update fees or not, those.
Right, and I don't know about that.
That's not.
So the next two on our Agency of Transportation, John, and I was chatting with JFO about these and wondering if there's plenty of money in the pilot special fund, does the agency need to take its already pretty underwater budget and put money back in the pilot fund?
I don't know. I kind of grabbed Candace quickly in the hallway following when they came in to talk a little bit about, I need to sit down with her.
Yeah.
I didn't have that much time to follow up on that. But
Yes.
they were short. I mean, they didn't.
They were short and they used the pilot fund, I think, in an appropriate way. And
That's the
then do
question
they
I
really
have.
have to pay it back? I mean, does that really make the use
Yeah.
of, because they're gonna have to borrow money from general fund to do something, some other, I don't know.
That's what I wonder.
So I'd like to
I don't have an
understand
answer to that
the-
question yet.
Yeah, if you could check that out, that would be
You
great.
might want to ask whether there's some things that have to be paid out of the pilot fund. So if it's necessary to pay something out of the pilot fund,
I don't know.
payment in lieu of taxes.
Emily, we chatted, one of you guys over there, hello, everybody, we chatted about this with somebody and,
Chris and I talked a little bit about some of this
okay,
moving money from special fund into.
right, they were using
back.
excess
I don't
receipts.
understand that yet fully, but we talked about it.
For the record, Chris Rook, joint fiscal, yeah, I think the committee might want to revisit this after next Tuesday, when the FY 27
Oh, yeah,
direct lands.
yes,
But yeah, I think that sort of still the issue here, and Representative Senska and I both spoke with AOT. They received authority from finance and management through Excel receipts, to spend another 360,000 and change out of the pilot fund to take care of 2 additional municipal projects, and I believe Norwich and Pomfret. And the agreement that was struck between the agency and finance and management was you could use the excess receipts authority if you make the pilot fund whole. As a result, I understand why that directive was given to the agency. You all just might want to your points earlier, Madam Chair,
Yeah.
revisit this topic next week. Let's see
Okay.
what conflict, so.
Yeah. because maybe we don't make them do it.
There might be a different path.
Yeah,
Senate was more like a one-time strategy at the moment to kind of shift things and take care of the excess receipts that they were receiving, because they didn't have enough enough.
Right, but it's the paying them back part that I
That's
don't
the
really
part.
see. Do we really need to pay them back?
When I, Chris and I both had questions about.
Yeah,
that.
and I understand the management perspective of, all
Right.
right, if they're gonna give excess receipts, you know, make sure you make them whole afterwards, so, but given the balance in the pilot special fund and the challenges in the other major funds, you all might take it.
Exactly. Exactly. So did I hear from Abby? No. Okay, so we'll hold up on those till we see the budget.
And I haven't really met with them yet about the budget for the next year here, but.
Yeah, but they don't want to talk to you till the governor.
No.
Okay, we're back to cannabis.
This is the closeout true up of the transfers of the general fund from
Yeah. So they're
previous year's
increased.
actuals. Yes.
Yes, so
Yep.
nice to have a reduction in general.
Yep.
Anybody okay, everybody okay with that? All right, good. And why do we have a big zero? This next one?
Oh, geez. Trying to remember, James and I worked through trying to find out why this is
Why is it even there?
confusingly presented.
James?
James for the assist.
For the record, James, I'm the joint fiscal office. So the reason this shows up as a zero is because they're proposing to take money from the cannabis substance misuse fund. They're adjusting the transfer amount between the cannabis regulation fund and the substance misuse prevention fund. So both transactions are within the special fund column, but they.
They could have done it in two lines and they did it, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a zero, but stuff happened.
Yes.
So 135,438.27 is.
Right, being shifted from one fund to the other,
Exactly.
which nets us a zero. Okay, everybody all right with that one?
They're both special funds, so if you get one.
Yeah.
Special funds.
Exactly. Okay, so we're good
But
there.
why were they transferred? I didn't read all of it.
This is just based on the actuals from previous year because we
Oh,
base it on an estimate. And this is just closeout
Okay.
based on
Yeah.
actuals.
Okay.
An actual true up.
Yeah, an actual true.
There we go.
Okay, unclaimed property, who has that? That's treasurer, right? So I think that's good. General fund went down and special fund went up, but we'll just have Lynn tell us. And then, do you have these other ones, Marty?
Yes, I know, the current law. right?
Yeah.
See that.
Um. So I think that that's right. When she came in, Wendy Knight came in, the sports betting, they're not making as much as they thought they were gonna make.
But we're drinking more. Apparently.
Yes, yes.
Yes, that's because they're, well, maybe if they're celebrating their wins. We make less in sports betting. The more people win, the less money the state makes.
Right, but perhaps the people who lost their lives are drinking more.
Right, exactly.
If we're gonna wrap all the vices in.
Yeah. Well, they might be smoking, we don't know, but they are
But they're
drinking
not
more
quite
according
that
to that,
neutral, we're $1
right?
million up.
Right, so yeah, liquor has exceeded expectations and the other, I think we just need to, I think they're okay, they are what they are.
Yeah.
You know, they're enterprise funds.
Yes.
You may not like them, Tom, but that's what they are.
I could hate them.
Yes. And then Emily, under reversions of 21 million, I said, need to see spreadsheets.
Yes.
Do they have one or
You're the one that was part of the Harry Ford report that they sent around, but then we're also working on
Okay.
spreadsheets, got more detail.
Okay. So Autumn, a couple days ago, stated from Adam, January 12th, the carry forward and reversion report. And I think everybody should have a copy of that. This is like another little, really, you have it in your email, but I'm thinking that Autumn, maybe we should make copies for the committee so they have it.
Yeah.
That would be great, thank you. So,
Do we have it electronically?
yes,
Was it an email or is it part of it?
email from Autumn.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
But I think it's also good for those, I refer to it all the time during the course of the budget season, so You'll all get paper copies.
Was it everyone again?
Okay. Okay, that would be great. Thanks, Autumn.
Thank you.
So I think that ends the spreadsheet portion. Yay,
Until we come back to it.
for that.
Yeah.
For now, yes, until we come back to it. So, and so it's been an hour, so why don't we take a quick break and then we'll come back and look at the language. And I think we have some updated language or language in our format versus the, what we get from the government. So, okay, so let's go offline.